week later, he says, "Hey, let's start a business." So he comes over. We start talking about business ideas. He says, "Hey, let's clean windows at the gas station." And we'll sit at the gas station and we'll charge like $5 to clean windows. I said, hell no, dude, I'm not standing at the gas station charging $5 to clean windows. First person that said yes was actually a donut shop, and it was the second person we pitched, and they said, if it looks good, we'll pay you. We cleaned the windows. I thought it looked really good. Apparently, they thought it looked good, but not good enough to actually pay us. So they started bartering with us, and they paid us in donuts. Pitching this whole row of businesses, and we ended up knocking down like 4 deals in a row. And we got really lucky. And we like to look back on that and think like, I wonder what would happen if we would have gotten a bunch of no's if we would have kept going, because the next 2 weeks after that day, we didn't close anything.
Johnny, welcome to the show.
Sieva, thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited, dude. Been following your content for a long time, so it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I've seen you guys out here. So Johnny here has built a cleaning company. He's built a multi-million dollar course and a large social media following that has hundreds of thousands of people following him and his partner, Sergio. So we have a three-part mission here today, Johnny. One, we're going to find out how to build $1 million cleaning company. Two, we're going to find out the inner workings of a successful course business. And then three, we're going to find out how to grow on social media and how it affects your business. That sound good?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first, how many people have you taught how to start a cleaning business so far?
Almost 2,000.
Wow. Okay. So why did you start a cleaning company and how did you get started?
Yeah, I got started out of kind of just necessity. So I started when I was 19. I'm 26 now, so I've been doing it for over 7 years. And so I started at 19 with my best friend Sergio, who's not on here right now, but we've been best friends since the 7th grade. We were the two shortest guys in the class. We had the same Hurley jacket from Costco, and we
Short
just hit
King
it off
Anthem.
in 7th grade. And we just became the best of friends and stayed friends until after we graduated. And once we graduated, I was a water park lifeguard, so walking back and forth on the lazy river, and like $10 water shoes, so they were getting holes in them every week. It was burning my feet. It was making like $10 an hour in Orange County, California. Wasn't cutting it. He was interviewing for he interviewed at Arby's, McDonald's. Nobody would hire him. Like, you know you're down bad when you interview at Arby's and they don't accept you. So we skipped class one day. We went to the beach, and we started talking about what we wanted to do after we graduated. And I had found out that you didn't need a business degree to start a business. I thought you needed a business degree. So I don't come from any entrepreneurial background. I have no entrepreneurs in the family, literally zero. Neither does he. And so he thought the same thing. He's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," but he wasn't really interested. He's like, "I'm going to school for civil engineering. I'm gonna go get my 70K a year job out of college with my benefits, and I'm chilling." So I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm still kind of scheming by myself, looking at business ideas. And then he calls me a week later. He says, "Hey, let's start a business." So he comes over. We start talking about business ideas. He says, "Hey, let's clean windows at the gas station." And we'll sit at the gas station and we'll charge like $5 to clean windows. I said, hell no, dude, I'm not standing at the gas station charging $5 to clean windows. We're not going to make any money because there's two of us. But I Googled window cleaning and found out that it's an actual industry that people pay good money for, residential, commercial, storefronts. So we end up putting $75 in each, $150 total, and we buy some stuff off of Amazon, and we just start going door to door. And
In a residential neighborhood?
at mom and pop stores, so think like your local liquor stores, donut shops, places
Got
like
it. So
that.
you go to this gas station or donut shop, you knock on you walk in the front door, there's a front desk attendant. You're like, "Hey, sir, we're going to be cleaning windows. Like, do you want us to clean some windows?" And what percentage of people would say yes?
Like 5%. Our pitch was
Okay.
terrible, and knowing what I know now, I could definitely like raise that closing average up for sure. But
So you talk to
but
20 people, one person says yes, and how much did you charge them at the time?
well, the first person that said yes was actually a donut shop, and it was the second person we pitched, and they said, if it looks good, we'll pay you. We cleaned the windows. I thought it looked really good. Apparently, they thought it looked good, but not good enough to actually pay us. So they started bartering with us, and they paid us in donuts. And they said, "Here, we'll give you a free dozen donuts." And it was already like 2 p.m., so the donuts are all cold, and they've been sitting there all day. But we ended up taking that deal. We got paid in donuts, and we went back home and ate them, and we were kind of stoked. But then we actually needed to, make some money, right?
Right.
So we were broke, and so the next day after that, we ended up pitching this whole street. It's a small little downtown in the city of Orange called Orange Circle, and we ended up pitching this whole row of businesses, and we ended up knocking down like 4 deals in a row. And we got really lucky. And we like to look back on that and think like, I wonder what would happen if we would have gotten a bunch of no's if we would have kept going, because the next 2 weeks after that day, we didn't close anything. And we were pitching all
Mm.
day. We could not close anything to save our lives, but we got that quick win of like we were going door to door to door to door and just closing it, closing it, closing it, closing it. And we made like $250 in our second day. And so we were really stoked. But eventually, we ended up continuing to do that. We ended up building some partnerships with local house cleaning businesses, so they would refer us and we'd pay them a commission off of the window cleaning job, so we can break into residential and get some higher ticket jobs.
So
We ended up,
somehow you reach out. So this door to door strategy is kind of working for you guys, and then you swing and you miss a bunch of times in a row, and then you think to yourself, okay, all these residential homes also need their houses clean. How do we get in front of them? We can't really go door to door. There's not always somebody home. So you decide you're going to partner with like local cleaning companies. And what do? You just call them up and say, hey, we're window cleaners. If you suggest us, you'll get X.
yeah. So what we did was, well, we did door to door for a long time. So we did it for probably like a year and a half, 2 years before we were like, okay, how do we like get some higher ticket jobs? And we built ourselves a solid route that we were doing. And we would get some residential just from the businesses we would clean and the customers that would come in when we were cleaning them. But we needed to be more consistent, and we can go from, charging 20, $30 a storefront to, 200, $250 for a house. Um, so we were thinking, okay, how can we get into this? How can we get more jobs? So I had the idea. I was like, okay, well, house cleaning businesses do house cleaning. They don't do windows because you need equipment and you need the insurance and you need, a bunch of expensive supplies.
Mm.
So I was like, let me just call them. Let me say, hey, I do window cleaning. You don't. I know you probably get people that ask. Just refer that business to me, and I'll give you, 10% kickback on any jobs you refer. I called the top 2 businesses off of Yelp, and they both took the deal, and they started sending us a bunch of work. It's also a great way for any home service business to leverage other people's kind of
Wow, I
customers
can't
as
believe
well.
that worked. I feel like sometimes people are just like, nope, or they say yes and then they don't deliver any leads. I'm glad that worked for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, kind of lucky for sure, but definitely still a valid strategy. It's something that we teach is like you just leverage other people's like, customer lists. You also send emails to them as a side note. But I started doing that. One of those cleaning companies that we partnered with told us, hey, you need to get on Yelp. So we got on Yelp, and Yelp is very powerful for home service businesses in California. It's one of the best marketing channels that we found, and still to this day is, based on what we see. And so we get on Yelp, we start asking for reviews, we start building our reputation on Yelp, and then we start advertising on Yelp, and we start getting a ton of leads, and we eventually just reinvest everything back in the business. We buy our first truck, our second truck, our third truck. We start wrapping those trucks. We start throwing you know um, a bunch of reels on it, setting them up so it looks all cool and it's really efficient for the job, so we can get the jobs done faster. And eventually got that business to, during our ownership, the best month we had was 70K, but consistently around 65K a month.
That's great.
Before and about 9 W2 employees. And then what we did was, uh, the biggest problem we had at that scale was we were paying a lot of workers comp, and
Hmm.
workers comp for window cleaning businesses is extremely high. You're talking like
How expensive is that?
$22 for every $100 of payroll you're running. So it was, yeah, 22%.
$22?
Yeah,
22% of your payroll is workers' comp?
yeah,
Wow. So
because
if
you have
you're spending $10,000 a month in, or let's say $20,000 a month in salaries, you're spending like $4,500 a month in workers' comp.
right.
Wow, that's really, really expensive. Is that
So
California specific?
that was in California. I can't speak to the rest of the country, but that was
Yeah,
California. And there was ways we negotiated it down to like 17, 16%. Still insanely high though,
that
insanely
is
high.
really high. So
And
you're
so
so you're running a window cleaning business. You guys have like pressure washers, some kind of like ladders or like boom lifts or something like that to get up to the second floor. You've bought a bunch of equipment, right? And you're kind of going around door to door. And who's actually doing the washing? Are you and Sergio still doing the washing, or are you guys kind of running the business at this point?
So by 2022, we were very like removed from the field. When we had employees, we would still, like, people would call out, or we'd have to, people would quit, whatever. We'd have to go back in the field. So we were in and out. And then, we had 3 trucks, all this equipment, but we weren't really that profitable. And we were paying the workers' comp, the payroll tax, and and then we wanted to grow. So in order to grow, you have to buy the trucks and the equipment. And we started with $150. So it's like, okay, well, now it's taking. It's just all the time. The bank account would grow, and then we would drain it to grow, to grow the business. You know what I mean? So we were just stuck in that loop. And then one day, we had actually acquired a company. For it was doing about 250 grand a year. We bought it for $1,000, and they had two big private university contracts, one for Chapman University and one for Biola University.
Also,
And
window cleaning business.
also window cleaning. Well, it was half window cleaning, half carpet cleaning, but we only really wanted the window cleaning business. We didn't care for the carpet cleaning. We
Okay.
wanted those two commercial contracts because one was 45 grand a year, the other was 30. And so we ended up buying that business for $1,000 down, and then structuring it to where we would give him a small commission on customers that would convert to Orange Window Cleaning customers, because we were worried about giving him money and then those customers not converting, because he maintained all the relationships. So he we ended up getting those contracts. We ended up paying him about like 20 grand or so over the course of the 2 years. So he ended up getting paid, and it was a win-win because we bought the business for $1,000 and pretty much doubled our business, and we got these two large commercial contracts. But it was during that time that we had two of those universities going. It's the summer of 2021, and we had those two large universities going. We had three more trucks of residential we had to service, but all of our guys were locked up on these commercial jobs, and I didn't want to turn down our customers because we had, big properties in Laguna Beach and on the beach that needed, the full stack, because we were doing window cleaning, pressure washing, Christmas lights, and gutter cleaning. So our average tickets were through the roof in residential, and
You're
so
hanging
they,
Christmas lights too, so you're cleaning gutters, you're washing windows, and you're hanging Christmas lights for the
yeah,
holidays.
yeah.
Wow, that's fun.
So during winter we would dude, we would sell like $12,000 packages where it would be lights, gutters, house wash, and windows. For and this is residential, right? Not even commercial. So um, when you walk onto a job and you're like, hey, we can clean your windows, but we can also do your gutters since we're here too. And then you take a picture of their gutters and it's like getting clogged up.
Hmm.
And then it's like, we can clean the windows, but your house is still going to look a little dirty. So it starts to stack. But anyhow, we're kind of in a bind, and we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we still do this residential stuff? Well, I had an ex-employee leave to do his own window cleaning business, and he told me, if you ever want to subcontract me out, just pay me 50% of the job. And I'm thinking in my mind, hell no, I'll never do that. But now that I'm in this bind, I think about what he said. I call him up because the customer called me. It was a $4,000 house washing and window cleaning job in Laguna Beach, and we do this lady every year. And I didn't want to tell her no, so I said, hey, you did this job last year, dude. You told me 50%. I'm down to do 50%. Can you take care of it? He said, yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. 2 days later, he goes and does it. 2 days later, shows up. I didn't have to get his truck ready. I didn't have to buy his equipment. He just shows up to the office and hands me a check for 4 grand. And I was like, what am I
He
doing?
paid the insurance, he paid the payroll, he paid the cost of
Yeah,
everything, right? You just
exactly.
made a clean 50% margin.
Right. And so I pay him 2 grand. I'm like, holy crap, this is the easiest 2 grand I ever made. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so I call Sergio and we just decide, hey, let's just switch everything to contractors. Like, what are we doing here? Because our hypothesis was, okay, if we just continue to do a good job at setting expectations, and we do a good job at vetting the contractors, we should be able to maintain our reputation. And that ended up being true. We ended up getting more reviews, and we ended up actually becoming more profitable. So that's kind of how the whole remote cleaning thing you see on Twitter right now was kind of made in the 50-50 split. So then, we started doing well with Orange Window Cleaning. We were doing about 15, 20 grand a month in profit, and but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because what was going on was my mom raised me, single mom, but she was driving Uber full time in Orange County, $3,200 a month rent, and I didn't want her to drive Uber anymore, because I'm not talking like, she was like little side hustle Uber like 20, 30 hours. No, dude, she was doing 50, 60 hours a week, up at 7 in the morning,
Hmm.
home at 7, 8 p.m. And so I was like, okay, what can I do? I can, and at the same time this is happening, I'm tweeting about how I'm running the window cleaning business and making content about how I'm running the cleaning business. People are asking me, how can I do this window cleaning thing like you're doing it? And I wasn't very confident that other people can do it, because we're in Orange County. It's a large metro. There's a lot of window cleaning. It's not as seasonal as a lot of other places in the country where, the weather's pretty the same all year round. and when weather affects window cleaning. But I knew that it would work in cleaning because the availability of contractors is a lot greater. Anybody can go to a Home Depot or a store and pick up some cleaning supplies and go clean a house. So, but I didn't have any authority in house cleaning. So I go, okay, I can use my skills that I've learned building this window cleaning business to build a house cleaning business for my mom. That way she can work from home. She has to answer the phone calls. We can hire the cleaners for her. We can get her the leads. And I can call my shot and tweet about it on Twitter, build more authority in cleaning, and then we can actually help all these people out that are messaging me. And that's exactly what we did. We ended up starting Mary and a Mop, which my mom's name is Mary, and that business is still around. Um, we took out a new Amex Gold card, put 2 grand of ad spend on it, and we just started closing all the leads and did 8 grand. No, sorry, 12 grand of revenue our first month with 4 grand of profit, and then we did 20 grand of revenue the second month with 8 grand of profit. And she's never worked Uber since. And that business did.
Mary must have been stoked.
Oh, dude,
She was
she's
making double the money with a better business model.
yeah, she made 150 grand of taxable income last year
Hell yeah.
on 300K of revenue, and this year she'll do a little more than that. Last month, Marion and Mop did just under 40K, and we run about 50% net because we do a lot of next door and Facebook group marketing, so we don't have any CAC, so that really helps out the margins. But yeah, she's made more money than she's ever made in her life. She I remember she made 10 grand the first one. She's like, I've never made over 10 grand in my life, and so that was pretty cool. But so
That's
took care
awesome.
of that, and then ended up kind of blowing up on Twitter a little bit, and that's how Home Service Academy was born.
All right. I want to ask you a couple questions, but before we move on, you in passing mentioned that you bought a $250,000 business for $1,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who would love to do that, who think that you probably caught lightning in a bottle and it's impossible to do. So
I've done it
walk us
twice.
through.
Done it twice actually. So it's not lightning in a bottle because I did it with a solar panel cleaning business as well. It wasn't doing 250. It was doing about 100, but was still able to get that deal done for $1,000 as well.
I'd love to hear that. And as somebody who does deals, I know these are possible. Why would somebody sell you their business for so little money down?
Well, you got to think, right? Who's going to buy a $250,000 a year window cleaning business when the owner's still heavily involved in the field? You got one employee. Everything's kind of all over the place. All his relationships are tied to him. His CRM is on his notebook. I ask him to bring his financials to our first meeting, and he comes with a book. He comes with a little book and with the numbers written down himself.
Amazing.
So,
Yeah.
there's a ton of businesses like that, a ton of them. And so, for further context, how I met him was I was in a I don't know if you're familiar with the BNI or like a LITIP.
I've
It's a
never heard
local
of that.
networking group. They're all over the place, right? Every city has them, and in these groups,
Letip, Letip, or BNI?
LETIP and BNI. B is in boy,
Okay.
N is in Nancy, I is in India.
Okay.
And what they are is there's only one person allowed in each industry, and so it's a lot of like I'll go to my local BNI or Latip in Orange County. Let's say there's going to be a window cleaner, which was me. There's a house cleaner. There's a general contractor. There's a roofer. There's a health insurance guy. There's a home insurance guy. There's an auto insurance guy. Right, you get the point. And there's only one person allowed in each of these, in each of their field. And what you do is you get up, you have either breakfast or lunch once a week together for 30 minutes to an hour, and everybody gets up and pitches their business for 30 seconds. And the whole idea behind these things is you're supposed to refer each other business. So you kind of buy yourself into an army of sales reps that are going to go sell
Mhm.
for your business on your behalf, right? And there's a lot of different cool things you can do to actually leverage the group to get some juice out of it. But I was at one of these meetings and I got to know the health insurance guy. And he says, hey, one of my clients is retiring. He wants to move to Idaho and he has a window cleaning business in Fullerton, which is town next over. So I go, oh, I mean, introduce me. I'm happy to, talk to him. Well, this guy was getting old. He was about 65 when I met him, and he was started to develop Parkinson's, and you could see he would start to kind of shake a little bit. And he wanted to get a deal done. He wanted to move to Idaho. He already had a ton of equity built up in his house. He was going to sell his house, move to Idaho, and he wanted to sell his business. And so what we were able to do was, given that, all the relationships were tied to him, kind of everything was all disorganized. We were able to kind of leverage that and say like, look, man, it's very risky for us. We can't put a ton of cash down, but I want to make it a win-win. I'll give you $1,000 in goodwill, and in order to kind of combat the risk of like paying you money and churning all these customers, I'll just give you a percentage of every job that converts to an orange window cleaning customer. It'll start at 15% the first year, it'll go down to 10% the second year, it'll go down to 5% the third year, and then we'll be paid off.
So if one
And
of his customers continued working with you guys and they paid you $100,000, you would send him $15,000.
right.
Is that right?
Hmm.
So he made that first $1,000 guaranteed, and then if he helped you transfer those customers and build a good relationship with them, that so he was incentivized to do so, then he could also get paid.
Yep,
Cool.
exactly. So
And did that continue over the years, or when did it stop? Sorry, you said 15% the first year, 10% the second year.
yeah, so we paid him into the first 2 years, and then what happened at the end of the 2 years was he said, "Hey, would you mind just paying me like the future commission on the commercial, because we're not going to lose the commercial jobs. We built this really solid relationship with them, and he had owned those for 20 years. So he goes, can you just pay the commission for the next year, this year, and I'll give you like an extra $1,000 off or something." And I said, yeah, that's fine. And so we just wired him the next year's payment as well, on the 5%, and we called it good.
Okay, awesome. So for people listening, Johnny is obviously a deal maker. He's born to do it. I think most people go around in their life not asking the questions, not looking for the opportunities. Just thinking to themselves like, "Look, it's going to take a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money to get a deal done." Right? But it turns out that there are many reasons that people sell businesses. In this situation, this fellow was 65 years old. He wanted to retire. He wanted to move states. It was either he was going to shut down his business, or somebody like Johnny was going to come in and help him make a smooth transition for his loyal customers, and was able to do it at a very low price. And I've seen this done over and over again. So I definitely encourage people to keep their eyes out and kind of look for these types of opportunities. Tell us just quickly about the solar panel cleaning company that you bought, Johnny. What was the situation there?
Yeah, so actually very similar, except this guy, I'm actually still really good friends with him, and he actually has a Twitter account, and he's pretty decent size on Twitter. His name's Connor. He runs a big residential uh, fence installation business called Mike's Fences in Orange County. And it's funny because we ended up becoming good friends off of this. But he cold called me because he saw that we were, #1 rated on Yelp for window cleaning. He said, "Hey, I have this solar panel cleaning business I'm kind of doing as a side hustle. We've got about 100 grand a year in contracts, and I have this fence business that's really taking off." And this was back in like 2019, 2020. So I think we were like 20, 21 years old. And we're like, yeah, dude, let's take a meeting. We go and meet him at a Starbucks super late at night. And he brings his whole Excel sheet of all the contracts he has, and he goes, "This is all my equipment and what it's worth. This is my asking price." I think he was asking like, I don't know, 20 grand or 25 grand or something. And same thing. I was like, "Look, well, I mean, we can't pay you just transparently, but what if we do, $1,000 in goodwill and for the equipment, and then we'll go do the jobs for you, and we'll give you a commission." And he
Mhm.
goes, "Okay, done." And so we ended up landing a bunch of solar panel cleaning jobs, and I'm talking like huge, like solar farms. Like we had one in Ontario in the desert that was like 7,000 panels, where you had to get a water jug and transport it out there. It was pretty crazy. And it was cool because what we ended up doing was we ended up cross selling a lot of those customers to window cleaning services. But problem with that business was the brush. There's only one guy in the country that could fix that brush, and it kept breaking. And so we ended up saying, "Hey, dude, like this just isn't working out. Like, you can have the equipment back, and we can call it good." And so that's what ended up happening. But we did end up getting a lot of customers to convert over to window cleaning customers, so it worked out.
How often do those solar panels need to get cleaned?
About once a quarter. We do
Once
either
a
once a
quarter.
quarter or once every
And
six
how
months.
how much per year approximately is one of those customers worth?
We were charging. It's tough to remember the pricing
Yeah,
because you got to discount it within just like thousands of panels up on a roof.
sure.
Um, but I want to say it was something like $2 a panel,
Yeah. So
like
tens of
that.
thousands of dollars per
Yeah,
clean,
it just
basically.
depends. I know the one in Ontario was like 5 grand every time we did it or something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Somebody needs to learn how to fix that brush. I'm sure there's an opportunity out there.
I mean,
To
hey, there's some decently sized solar panel cleaning companies out there. It's just another thing was it's a completely new service, and we thought it was going to be a good add-on. But when you're cleaning huge farms like that, it needs to be your full-time thing. You can't be doing it. Doesn't fit in as well as like the gutter cleaning, the Christmas lights, and the pressure washing. You know,
Yep. I definitely hear that. So let's go back to Mary's cleaning business because I want to learn how to build a cleaning business from the ground up. So you go to your mother and you say, "Mom, I want you to quit driving Uber. We're going to help you build a cleaning business." Great. That sounds like a fun idea. So you go out, you buy some cleaning equipment, and how do you get your first customers? Your first 10 customers?
so we didn't buy any cleaning equipment. So because we hire contractors. So what we did is, it's very simple. All you need is you need a software called Booking Koala. It's $57 a month. You need a software called Open Phone, which is about $25 a month. You need some general liability insurance in the case something happens with your cleaners. Something happens maybe less than 1% of the time, but just in case, have insurance because the cleaners you hire will also have insurance. But in the case that goes you, whatever happens, you want to be covered. $60 to $80 a month for general liability. You can go to Next or Thimble, and then you need cost to file an entity in your state, and that's about all you need. And then maybe QuickBooks. And
So about
so
$150 to $200 a monthly expenses to get up and going.
without ad spend, right? Without ad spend. And
Yeah.
so what we did was, got all those things set up, Booking Koala to book the jobs, to onboard your cleaners, to be able to see your schedule, kind of like a CRM, not quite a full CRM, but has a lot of CRM kind of functionality. And then Open Phone because you don't want to have your personal number out advertising on Yelp and Google Business Profile and Facebook, right? You want to be able to discern whether or not it's a friend calling who just got your number or someone calling for business. And then obviously the insurance is self-explanatory. And so all you need to do from that point, once you have that set up, is you need to set up your marketing channels. And so your marketing channels, there's a ton of different ones you can do. I'm a big fan of. You can do Google local service ads is very easy, right? It takes 2 weeks to get registered. If you search house cleaning near me, window cleaning near me, plumbers near me, whatever home service, the first thing that's going to pop up on that search bar is a Google guaranteed badge. That is Google local service ads. You'll pay, I don't know, $50, $60 a lead. So it's important that you close at 50-ish% clip. So you can have a reasonable customer acquisition cost, and you're going to get leads that are laydowns. So you'll set up your local service ads, but again, $50-$60 leads kind of expensive. So you want to also do marketing in places like local Facebook groups and next door groups. And a good strategy there is get your friends or family members to leave reviews for your business. Now, okay, bear with me if you're like, hey, that's not very ethical. You got to be a little scrappy at the beginning. You can have them tell you how great your character is if you have a problem with it, but go have your friends and family leave reviews inside these local Facebook groups. And I like to call it like the keeping up with the Joneses effect, because if the neighbors are all seeing Nancy using Sieva's cleaning services, they're either going to call Sieva's cleaning services, or when they do need cleaning services, you're going to be top of mind. And because some people live in those Facebook groups. So between local service ads and the Facebook and Nextdoor, you'll get leads. So start getting the leads. Then you need to hire the cleaners. I like Indeed. Indeed's super easy, and you just throw up a job posting on there, and realize that, hey, 80-20 rule. 80% of these people are going to suck, but how you're going to sift through them is, number one, do they have at least a year of cleaning experience? Do they have their own transportation and equipment? And do they have insurance? And if they don't have insurance, then you can start them off at a lower pay and incentivize them with a larger percentage to get insurance at the beginning. But those are the three things. You don't want to be buying equipment for people, and you don't want to be picking them up and dropping them off at cleaning jobs. And you only need one cleaner to get to about 5 to 10K a month. And so between marketing, Indeed, you hire your first cleaner, you get the leads, you send the cleaner out, you give them 40 to 45%, making sure that your gross margins, right, your revenue left
44,
after
44, 45% of the top line. So if it
yes,
costs $300, you're giving them, like 150 or so.
yeah. So
Okay.
40-45%. Some people do 50. I just think it's your gross margins are a little too thin. If
Mm-hmm.
you're giving up 50, I think 40 to 43% is really the sweet spot, because the larger percentage you can have of your revenue after you pay the labor, the better, because it gives you more margin for error. If you're testing a marketing channel, it doesn't work, you're not going to be in the hole. So 40-45%, and then should be golden. and you pay your customer acquisition cost. You have very little fixed costs in the booking qual, the open phone, and the insurance, and you should be sitting pretty with 40%, 35% net profit margin.
So if you're spending $50 a lead on Google Business, and it's basically costing you $100 to land a customer because you're closing at 50% if you're doing a good job closing on the phone, then and then you're paying another 100, and let's say the cleaning is $300, and you're paying another 150 to the cleaners. There's about a $50 margin if you are paying for leads. So your kind of biggest leverage, it sounds like, as a business owner here, is to try to get as many free or low cost leads as possible, because that meaningfully increases your margin, right?
Right, 100%. You're not going to make a ton of money on the first time clean. So I was just doing some math right now. So if you pay, you book our AOV at Merriam Ops is a little over $350, but let's call it 300. You pay $50 to acquire a customer, and you pay 40% to your cleaners. You're still looking at about a 43% net. I mean, that's a perfect world, though, right? You're going to misprice things. You're going to make mistakes. Um, where you make the money is booking them to recurring, right? And you do that by getting it right the first time in your hiring process,
Mm.
because you're in cleaning, like, it's a service business. Your cleaners are your product. So if you hire dookie cleaners to go out, they're not going to do a great job. You're going to risk bad reviews. You're going to spend money to acquire the customer. You're not going to convert them to a recurring because they don't trust you anymore, and you're not going to extend the LTV. So you're just going to constantly be on the hunt for new business. Whereas the benefit to cleaning is you get a customer one time, and then you keep them for life, because houses get dirty every week, every 2 weeks, and you can get in there for weeklies, bi-weeklies, and monthly cleans. And the way you do that is you just hire good cleaners, because you increase the likelihood they book for recurring, that you get a review, and that they're going to refer you to one of their friends.
Mm. Got it. So your role as a business owner here is picking up the phone when people call, converting them to book sales, solving any problems that people have or any feedback that people have, hiring the contractors who are actually the cleaning people, and then cashing the checks and paying the contractors. That is really your role as the business.
Yep, 100%. No cashing checks, because you're going to take their card over the phone and put it into Booking Koala and pre-authorize it and make sure that they actually have the funds, so they don't get one over on you. And you
Hmm.
don't want to be, hunting down checks and relying on your cleaners to pick up cash or checks. It's just bad. So, um,
It sounds like you may have ran into some situations where people didn't pay you.
yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, I'm you taking the card, you're pre-authorizing that, making sure every time. So no cashing checks, but yeah, basically, and then eventually, you can leverage yourself a little more by hiring someone overseas to answer the phones, start to handle the customer complaints, start to handle the scheduling, start to call customers and book them for recurring. Basically, get them to run most of the business, so you're just managing them, maybe getting another one in to do operations, and then maybe turning some dials on the marketing. So.
That's a great moment to plug a company that we invested in, which is called somewhere.com. And they can help you hire an admin overseas. So instead of paying someone, $60,000 a year in the US, you can pay someone $1,000 per month abroad. And somewhere.com will help you hire that person. They have recruiters all across the world to do so. And I've actually used them multiple times to hire people for myself. Johnny, I'm curious, what are some of the most common mistakes that you've seen people make when they're trying to start a cleaning business?
Yeah, they're not gonna. They don't do test cleans, so I left this out in the hiring process. But you're gonna test clean every cleaner you ever want to use, and so what the test clean does is, it's gonna tell you, number one, does this cleaner show up? Do they do a good job? And number two, are they gonna try to steal your customers because they're not W-2s, they're contractors? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a friend or family member, and you're gonna say, hey, do you want a free cleaning? Oh, they're gonna say yes, because it's a great offer. And so you send this cleaner to your friend or family member's house, and to the cleaner, they think it's a real job, but they don't know they're being tested. And so you have your friend or family member ask, hey, or you tell them, in exchange for this free cleaning, I need you to ask this one question. That one question is, how can I book again after the cleaner's done with the job? You ask, how can I book again? They're either going to say one of two things. They're going to say, here, book through me. Here's my card. I'll do it for cheaper. Or, hey, call Sieva and he'll get you rebooked. Call the office. They'll
Hmm.
get you rebooked. Now, if they say that, it's a pretty good green flag and good indicator they're going to be solid, because they don't have a relationship with you yet, and they're acting on, they're having good character. But if they're like, hey, here's my card. Obviously, they're going to try to steal your customers, so you never want to use them. And so once you get that indicator, then they pass the background check, and they sign the contract that says, "Hey, if you take my customers, I'll sue you." Will you ever actually sue them? No, but it's usually enough to scare them. Between those three things, you should be pretty good to have a good cleaner. But the mistake a lot of people make is that like they like to skip it because it's kind of a lot of work to coordinate, and so they like to skip it. And surprise, surprise, they skip it, and the cleaner takes a customer. They do a terrible job, and they have a bad review. So that's definitely one mistake. Another one is not always recruiting, because at the end of the day, this is a recruiting business. It's not even a cleaning business. It's just a recruiting business. Because again, going back to my point, if you do a good job hiring, you solve most of your problems in this business. You'll never run out of leads. The leads is the easy part. And so a lot of people will get comfortable with the crews that they have and the cleaners that they have, and they won't always be hiring. And so I'm a big proponent of, hey, always hire. Even if you have just the best squad of cleaners of all time, you just never know when they're going to come back to you and start complaining. They're going to get picky about the jobs they want to take. They're going to start asking you for more pay. And a good way to avoid that is to always have a bench to plug in the case that
Hmm.
someone tries to act like you need them.
So through this process, you start an education business and you start teaching other people how to go through the same business building exercise, which you did with your mother. Start a business, cleaning business from scratch. Before we started recording, we were actually talking about my friend Trevor, who went through your course and very successfully built a cleaning business. He actually owns a real estate business as well, but he had kind of time and capacity to build up another business. So he said, "Why don't I take Johnny's class and I'm going to learn how to do this. They're going to give me all the tools." And he ended up building a business that I think was doing over $20,000 or $25,000 a month in revenue. I remember he was telling me about it. He had an admin or two in the Philippines that was doing most of the legwork for him, and he was cash flowing nicely for his life. So, what I'd like to hear about is, how did you start up this course business, and what is it doing for you guys today?
Yeah, so what happened was I tweeted about the whole Marion Mop story, and grew the following. Then it was just overwhelming, the amount of people that were reaching out. And this is, if anybody's listening to this and is on Twitter, you've seen the remote cleaning bros, you've seen them all. Well, when I started tweeting about this, nobody was tweeting about it. There's not
You
a
guys are
single
the
person.
original. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and so it's kind of funny because no one's tweeting about it. Everyone's got all this
Why'd you
inbound
start
demand.
tweeting, by the way? How did that happen?
I got involved. I started joining different Twitter spaces. I started hearing people, talk about their business and stuff. And I was like, well, they'll probably like this window cleaning stuff. And I would see people like, boring business was all the hype. It still is right now, but it was like just getting started. And I would actually see your tweets, back then too. So I've been following you for a long time. But uh, everybody talk about these boring businesses and always plumbing or HVAC. And so I had this tweet where I was like, everybody's talking about the same boring businesses, plumbing, laundromats, etc. Let's talk about like some real niche boring businesses. And I put these three random businesses that I knew the owners of in Orange County through EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. And it did like 2,000 likes, a ton of impressions, and I ended up getting 2,000 followers from it. And so that was kind of how my account was born.
Nice.
And so I built this following. I'm maybe at like 7 or 8 grand, or not grand, 7 or 8 thousand followers. And people are asking me how to do it. How do I do it? And I go, okay, well, let's. Me and Sergio had just read $100 million offers, so I didn't know like this whole course thing was even existed. I'm from window cleaning, and so we read this book. We're like, okay, it's Home Service Academy. We're gonna coach people for a year, and we're gonna pre-sell all of it. And so January 1st, 2022, I open up my calendar and I take a bunch of sales calls. I end up closing 15 people and collecting 50 grand in 2 weeks, all profit at the time, because it was just me and Sergio, no product, nothing, just collect 50 grand. And so built it over those 2 weeks. Sergio mostly built it out while I was taking the sales calls. And January 17th, we launched. And for the first 3 months, we didn't sell a single other package, and we just made sure we can get results for all those people. Got really good results, really good reviews. And so then we opened it up in April. And from April to December, we did $2.8 million of revenue with 1.5 million of profit.
April
And
to December, so less than a year, you guys did over 2 million of revenue.
2.8 in 9 months.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
amazing. What were you guys charging per student?
Yeah, so we started at a $4,200 price point, and then we did a price increase to seven in September. No, end of August. Yeah, September.
Okay, so you guys had, let's see, so I'm just doing the math over here. So you guys had 2.8 million. So you guys had hundreds of students going through this class.
Yeah, yeah. And so we made some changes. Like we were doing a year long for 4,200, and so we kind of cut that down to 16 weeks because we found that people were just lacking. Because it's one-on-one coaching, right? Like you're with somebody who's done the thing. At first, it was me and Sergio. Now we have coaches who've been through the program. They built big cleaning businesses, and now they coach full time for us. And you're meeting with them on a weekly basis. So we found that people would start to kind of like drag feet on a year, but when you said, hey, you only got 16 weeks, you got to move, we saw success increase a lot more. So we
Yep,
cut that down to
compress the
16
learnings
weeks.
in a shorter period of time, increase the number of people that succeed in the outcome. So you're charging about $7,000 for a 16-week program. Tell me about your team structure for the course business.
Yeah, so we have a sales team. So sales manager, we've got three AEs, closers. We've got another four appointment setters. And then on the coaching side, we have a director of customer success. We've got three coaches under him. Then we have our content team, where we pump out content. We've been doing content for 3 years pretty consistently now. So we do our podcast, our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, um, and then when we run ads, we need creatives made and stuff like that. So that's all in house. Um,
What's the structure of that social media team? So I have a pretty good sense of your course team now. Who do you guys have on the social side?
Yeah, we have kind of like a creative director in a way where
Hmm.
he's kind of like a big design guy. He's kind of like doing all the research, the pre-production, all that stuff. And then we have an editor who edits everything, and then we have some
Like a
contractors.
video and
Yeah.
editor,
Mhm.
and then they outsource to a bunch of contractors. Yeah.
No, no, in house. No, no. We also have contractors that will do the outsourcing too, but our editor is like in house editor.
Okay, got it. All right, you guys are like a media and course and production studio. Are these people remote or are they working out of your office in Vegas?
No, it's fully remote. I do want an in-person office though. Like I really do want one. So it's something I'm kind of planning for in the next year. But yeah, it's all remote now. And yeah, pretty solid team. We got people all over the place. It's all U.S. based. We have one overseas employee, but everyone other than that is U.S. based. And uh, yeah, it's a cool business, man. It's we built. I'd like to think we did uh, a lot more than your average course seller as far as like making this an actual sustainable business with pretty decent revenue retention. Uh, because everybody who comes in and pays the initial investment, about 25% of the time will buy the mastermind. So the LTV on our customers is a lot greater than a lot of the other course sellers out
Yep.
there right now because it's very challenging to build a back end in coaching because you actually have to deliver on your promise and most people don't. So it's
And
been
what is
pretty
the
cool.
the mastermind? It's a group of people that meet. Yeah, because I'm part of a mastermind called YPO, but it's basic in ours. Basically, we meet once a month with 8 people, and then maybe we have like one event per year. What is the structure of your guys' mastermind?
Yeah, so it's yours kind of like forum style, right? Where it's like a
Hmm.
one long meeting once a month. Yeah, so we kind of have that baked in too, where we have people in kind of pod groups, where it's forum style, similar to because I was in EO, so I kind of copied that, and I want them to be able to network. So we do that. That's a small piece, but the main thing is we have two in person events a year, where we come in, we get everyone together, we give out awards. Um, we'll do speeches, bring in guest speakers. Everybody's in a Slack channel, and it's accelerators. It's called accelerator, so it's accelerator specific. So everybody's kind of talking to each other about what they're doing, what's working, and then we have different set of group coaching calls every day of the week. I'm a lot more involved with the accelerator clients. Like you have access to my calendar anytime you need me, um, and you work with
That's the
Trevor.
mastermind. You guys call it the accelerator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you also work with Trevor, who's like I said, he works with the mastermind client. So you just get coaching switches, or you get your coach switched to Trevor, and so he works with you, and it's a year long of also more one on one coaching.
How big of a business can this be? Not your business, but the cleaning business. What have you seen either your students go through or people that you've met in the industry?
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, it just depends, right? If you're talking like, hey, chain, like my own chain of businesses, I'm not going to franchise, like excluding franchises, because Neil from made this franchise and he's crushing it. But I've seen King of Maize in Chicago get to about $2.1 million a year. I've seen multiple HSA clients get to over $1 million a year. We
Hmm.
have one guy who does about 100K a month while he still has his 9 to 5. But I typically
Wow.
see that like 1 to 200 grand a month being kind of the sweet spot. I never ever like to say this is business is going to make you super rich or rich in general. Maybe for less than 1% of people, maybe it can, because you need to be a really good operator to kind of manage that large of a hiring funnel
Hmm.
for cleaners. So very operationally difficult the more you scale. But I always like to say it's a great business if you want to keep your 9 to 5, you want cash flow, or if you want to learn the core skills of entrepreneurship, because you will learn sales, you will learn marketing, you will learn how to hire, and probably one of the hardest demographic of people in cleaners, and you'll learn operations. And so you'll learn all the core skills, and it's one of the only opportunities that people I think are pitched on the internet right now that actually starts with a degree of leverage, whereas you're not crazy in the trenches doing the work because you're hiring the cleaners, and you can start with the virtual assistant from the beginning if you want to do that. So really your time should just be spent hiring and marketing.
Yeah, as somebody who's seen one friend go through this process, your guys' course seems like one of the few courses that where the output, meaning the money you can make, is very much worth the input, right? If you're going to pay around $7,000 for this course and you're really going to commit to it and get and do the work, there's a clear line to not only make your money back, but multiples of that money. How much does your course business make in the last 12 months, for example?
Yeah, in the last 12 months, I'd have to check. Last year we did 3.6. This year we'll probably do around 4.55.
That's great. Tell me a little bit about your social media following. So at some point you guys start posting on Twitter and I guess you start getting good attention. People are liking your stuff. They're starting to follow you. You're getting thousands of followers. Now when I go and I look at your Instagram and your Twitter, your TikTok, your YouTube channels, you guys have, probably 50,000 across each of those channels, which adds up to a couple hundred to a few 100,000 people. Why are you guys so focused on social media? What is it kind of doing for you?
Yeah, I mean, well, number one, social media's opened so many doors and opportunities for just to meet cool people. I can pretty much send a DM now to anybody and get a response, which is
Hmm.
cool. Um, but more importantly, like it's a great channel for the business, and they're all sales channels at the end of the day. And so that's how we treat them as sales channels. And so we get a lot of leads and who, they come to our page. Maybe they're not going to join Home Service Academy at the very beginning, but they're going to watch all our free content where we give out all the information for free anyways. And they're going to get nurtured over time. And eventually they're going to come back. And when they do get on that sales call, they will lay down and close.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of the idea. And also to, um, being able to get into rooms with like Cody Sanchez. We did a video with her, and we're one of like the top 10 most viewed on her channel right now. And to this day, people still watch that. They find us and they join Home Service Academy. And so
Awesome.
it's just a gift that keeps on giving. We have, if you look up how to start a house cleaning business, we're going to see like 5 of our videos on that first page of YouTube. So it's also
Hmm.
a search engine. So if anybody's ever looking at, hey, how do I start a cleaning business? I want to be the first one, or I want to flood that page with our videos, and it's evergreen content. So you post something one time, and you just never know, you know, who's gonna watch that years down the road.
Are 100% of your leads coming from social media for the course business?
No, so we do paid, and we actually just removed paid because we have so much inbound organic, and it
Hmm.
was just inflating our CAC. So we're like, let's just forget about paid. Like 95% of our people come from organic now, anyway. So let's just double down on organic. And so we've made a lot of cool investments into content, and we have a couple bangers coming out on the YouTube that are very very high effort. Like I think they're gonna be really big videos. So really excited for that. And yeah, it was really out of necessity because we were running. We were on Twitter first when we started the business, and I said, okay, well, if we got this much traffic off of Twitter and this many people are interested in cleaning on Twitter, well, imagine if we had YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So that was the actually first investment we made was into a videographer, so we can start making content and posting it on all the different channels.
So you guys have like a videographer is like a person that like takes the videos or edits the videos?
So at the first guy we hired was a kind of both. So he did the videos and the editing,
Okay.
and then
And
now it's we have editors and we just hire videographers as contractors when we need them.
okay, got it. How do you think about like cost versus return on cost for your social media team? So it sounds like you guys have a few people and a bunch of contractors. What would you guess is your yearly spend for that entire team?
I'll tell you right now, it's probably about 180 grand a year,
Okay.
and we'll return
And
that in 1 month.
okay. Okay, that's a good return on cost.
Yeah. So if you divide that out by how many customers we acquire, I mean we have basically zero CAC because it's all organic.
Mm,
So that's another reason too. Is like, hey, when it takes some time. For some people it doesn't. For us, it took some time to really build and get to where we wanted to be. But you know, if you do it right, you don't pay anything to acquire customers. So
yeah.
helps out a lot.
Yeah, I get it. Social has been a wonderful part of our business as well. So it's always interesting for me to hear how other people are doing it. Can you tell which of the platforms is driving the most value for you guys, or what is your sense?
It's changed over the years because first it was Twitter. Now
Hmm.
we still get a lot from Twitter or X. Don't get me wrong, but now YouTube long form just crushes. If you can kind of rank yourself for a keyword in your niche on
Hmm.
YouTube, it's just the most disgusting channel, and disgusting in a good way, channel out there. I can't tell you how many times somebody opts into our funnel. One of our appointment setters calls them and they're like, "Oh my god, I love Johnny and Sergio's content. I've watched like you know 6 months worth of videos already. I've been watching for 6 months, and yeah, it's just crushes." And
Yeah, that.
you get a different type of person too. It's like not the doom scroller on TikTok that's just like opting into stuff
Hmm.
at 1 in the morning. It's the hey, I come to YouTube for education. I sit here and I watch videos and I learn.
Yeah, I love to hear that. That's something we noticed as well was by posting online, by the time people got on a phone call with us for whatever it is, whether it's, hiring or something else, they know so much about us, right? So they're fully aware of kind of our ethos and our values, and therefore they want to work with us. And then, of course, there's some people that we turn off and push away, which is great too, but we don't need to figure that out in the first few months of working together. They've already done the legwork and we've already put out the content there. So I'm sure it sounds like there's the same element for your sales process. I'm also sure you see a lot of people trying to build their social kind of presence. Are there some common mistakes that you've seen people make as they try to build up their audience, or are there some learnings that you could kind of share about what's made you guys successful on like YouTube, for example, where it seems like you're getting a lot of value?
Yeah, so it's very simple actually. Go do research and test. Just research and test. When I would say research and test, what I mean is go look at your niche, go find people in similar niches, and find the popular videos that are hitting, and recreate those popular videos and in your own niche, and try a bunch of different styles, test it. When you have one that has some outsized returns, double down on it. So what I mean by that is, we do a lot of talking, boring, like here's how to start a cleaning business, here's how you hire cleaners, right? It's very, very niche. I don't expect to get a lot of views. That's more nurture content. But every now and again, I'm going to test a more, mass, like a more wide audience video. And so what we did was we found that, top 7 businesses, top 10 businesses, top 10 service businesses you can start today, low competition business you can start today, like listicle type videos like that. And so we found that those were crushing for a couple other people. So we tried one, and we did top 7 low competition service businesses you can start today. It's at
Mm.
like 90,000 views right now. We posted a month ago and it continues to climb. And I slipped remote cleaning in there and it got us a ton of leads. But now that we knew that worked, okay, now we're going to double down on that and start releasing at least 1 or 2 of those a month on top of our nurture content, so that when somebody comes and sees, oh, hey, this remote cleaning thing sounds cool from your list video. I know nothing about these guys. Let me go check out their channel. And they see a wall of remote cleaning content. Well, now that's going to nurture them into the funnel.
Got it. That's
That's
great.
specifically if you're trying to build it as a sales channel. If you're talking entertainment or any other reason you want to build a YouTube channel, I can't. That's not my expertise. But if you want to build into a sales channel, that's what works for us.
That's awesome. That's really helpful. Johnny, this has been wonderful. Where should people check in on you and follow you? It feels like you're all over the internet, so I'm sure if they search Johnny and Sergio, they'll be able to find you.
Yeah, Johnny and Sergio on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Squeegee God on X or Twitter, Johnny Robinson on LinkedIn, and yeah, you can hit us up on any one of those. I have them all, so let me know. And then homeserviceacademy.co. I have a free course. If you go there, just you can have that. It's a free course. So homeserviceacademy.co, and yeah, reach out to me if I can ever be of help.
Super impressive everything you guys have built, man. Kudos, and I know you're just getting started. Thanks for taking the time to educate us on how it's going. Thank you for watching or listening today. Any resources we mentioned during the show, we'll make sure to link in the show notes or below the video. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, please leave me a review. It really helps me learn, and it allows other people to discover the podcast as well. Thanks again, and make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.